What's that?
I'm saying he picked now.
What's up? Good morning. Week 7. Week 7 means halfway through the fantasy season for most leagues. I don't care if you play in a weird league that finishes in week 18. You don't count. Your league is stupid. You should redo it.
Hot take right off the bat, Nate.
I'm starting. It is. No one can disagree with that. Personally, if you ask me, it is irrefutable. That is the declaration of the morning. Let's change that shit because week 18 happens and you have all people sitting, which doesn't happen as much. But I digress. Let's not start off on such a bad note because let's go with a positive note. Is that I have Jonathan Kanowski and Keith Fleming with me this morning. Fellas, how we doing?
What up?
Yeah, I was just about to continue the negativity and just say that that it's good to be with you guys because in the UK it's good to talk about something else other than the complete and utter chaos that is this island.
You still have lettuce, so that's good.
Yes, that has survived longer than the Prime Minister.
We're going to have an offline conversation, John, because now you've piqued my interest.
Basically, the entire government is falling to shambles. So
yes,
well, wow,
it has been for several years.
Where you been? We've been doing that for years, man.
But yes, for those that didn't see, it was very clear that the Prime Minister was going to have to leave at some point, and so one of the daily papers set up like a live camera to a lettuce. And the thing was, which is going to last longer? Like the lettuce had a shelf life of like 7 days or 10 days, and so they would like add different things each day, and the lettuce did last longer than the Prime Minister.
Wow, that's
what a good day for lettuce.
Yeah. Let us jump right into the first question of the day.
You are so good.
Thank you.
Friggin' professional.
Let's see. Do you like Pacheco as a stash instead of keeping Elijah Moore in case he's traded or gets more volume? I don't know, Keith. You're shaking your head. You sound like you're pretty confident in Pacheco as a stash.
It's not so much Pacheco. It's just Elijah Moore. I mean, who knows what his value is going to be to where we know the Chiefs are saying that Pacheco's getting first-team reps. They're saying they're going to give him more opportunities. It's a great offense. Anytime I can have a back and a Patrick Mahomes offense. Mm-hmm. If they, like McKinnon last year, right? Like was pretty much a non-factor, and he, I'm sure, helped some people win their leagues. So yeah, I would absolutely stash if that's the option is Elijah Moore, Pacheco.
It's the one weird thing about the Chiefs offense in that running back room is that any given stretch of 4 or 5 games,
right,
you can have the league's best running back as far as like point scoring. Sometimes it's in actual NFL playoffs time, like Damian Williams, and sometimes even Darrell Williams a couple years back, where he was a true MVP, if you ask me, of the Super Bowl games leading up to it. It was a funny story here. The game against, I want to say it was Tennessee, maybe. Regardless, doesn't matter who they're playing. We were in Vegas, and I did one of those first to score bets. And I went up and put like $40 or something like that on one of them. Well, I know who it was. It was supposed to be Damian Williams, D. Williams, and I did put D. Williams, Darrell Williams, and it didn't.
I've been there.
I sashayed up to the counter with my cash and put it down, slid it across.
They're like, "This is a loser, sir."
Even did one of those turnarounds and looked back at Kerry, was like, see, I got you. I'm smarter than the house. Nope, I was wrong. Then I had to walk back and tell between my legs. And I mean, we still won the football game. So I guess you got that. But yeah, that was dumb.
Are you concerned about Hilaire, Nate? Like if you were a Hilaire owner?
Yeah. I mean, I've always been concerned a little bit just because, at some point it does. Substance does have an effect on everything. The touchdown volume and the overall touchdown necessity just I don't know. I hate the usage, but
he had a good first 3 games, right? Like, wasn't his first 3 games, he was averaging like 20 points a game, and then it's just like.
But it was like, I mean, what Jorge, and I know we don't have the number in front of us probably, but use this number as an example. It was something like, 0.9 points per touch, something crazy unsustainable versus the norm, like, a quarter 0.25 or something. But I don't trust. So Pacheco starting for KC today. Here's the thing. I don't trust any one person just because they get the start. We've seen it. It comes down to who, does Mahomes want to look CEH's direction when they get in the red zone, which he's done quite often. Or hey, what do you think?
Well, I think this is a great day. I think this is a great day.
It's a great day.
It's a great day for football and fantasy football. 1, 2, to answer. I know. To answer your question a little bit more specifically. Look, I'm just like the rest of you. I was jumping up for joy when I got the notification that Pacheco is going to get the start. He's running with the ones. I jumped on my waiver wire. I grabbed him wherever I could, where he was available. Of all the weeks to have him start, though, against one of the toughest matchups in San Francisco, not exactly looking forward to it. So he's really somebody that you're putting in your lineup that you're like, okay, this is. I need a Hail Mary. I need a miracle. I need something, and I'm swinging for this field. So I'm going for upside. I don't know if the upside is going to be there this week.
As a Falcons fan, though, I will say this is not the same Niners D. Like from what I saw last week with the injuries.
Okay. Take it. You had a good week, Keith. We got it. You're Falcons.
I'm saying that we did not have a good week. It's just they're not very good right now.
Well, they're getting better. They're getting Nick Bosa back this week.
Yep.
The linebackers are there. Hufanga, I believe, was dealing with a concussion. I don't know if he's. That's
today's supposed to come out today. Don't know, which is huge. I mean, that's a
game changer.
Yeah, it really is. But their secondary's still gone. That's the biggest thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I think, going kind of back to the original question in terms of that stash, I mean, it's going to be fascinating today to see what that split is between CEH and Pacheco, because Pacheco actually saw a couple of targets last week that he hadn't seen before. I don't think CEH actually saw a target last week. I don't think that's likely to that trend's likely to continue like that. But the split between the two is going to be fascinating to see. And I think, Elijah Moore is probably one of my biggest misses this year. I thought he was going to have a great year. I drafted in quite a lot of places. And I don't see how this situation is going to rectify itself, because you've got him clearly wanting to move on. You've got his teammates that are kind of subtweeting him, saying that he needs to be kind of more humble. And the Jets probably aren't going to trade him because of the investment that they've made into him. So it's such a tough situation.
So soon after getting drafted, that's the thing that just blows my mind.
After such a good year last year, he was amazing last year, and it's a tough situation.
Is the FOMO situation a reality in that people are hesitant to even drop him because the knowledge of if something does go down and he is traded somewhere where a slot receiver could be of distinct value, do you hate to drop him knowing that someone else just might pick him up and
knowing that you've had gold
you had
there on your because I think the Packers are a team that should be interested in him. Supposedly they at the time of the draft they were interested in both. Obviously, it was different years, but Chase Claypool and Elijah Moore, who are both now supposedly available for trade. So you would like to think that the Packers would be interested in looking at whether they could do a deal. But who knows? Who knows? Personally, in terms of the original question, I would probably just go with Pacheco because you can see what that upside is in the offense.
Yeah. Very polarizing question.
Got a question here from DJ Duvernay. Didn't say welcome back this week. Earlier. Got some buzz. Do y'all like Pickens or Wan'Dale this week in full PPR? I like Pickens. I think ever since Pickett has come into the scenes, Pickens has been the primary target for him. So going against this team, I'm actually pretty high on Pickens this week. He was one of my starts of the week here, definitely for full PPR. I got Hopkins, so I'm happy I played him and drops points. Yes, as we all are too. Thoughts on Hopkins rest of season? Well, sure. If he's able to sneak in some PEDs for the rest of the season, I'm sure he'll play fantastic. Oh, that was mean of me. I'm sorry. No, joking aside, I mean, it can't get much worse than last year. He's healthy. He's had 6 weeks off to get his body ready to go. I'm hoping he keeps producing. Although I will say the 9 or 10 targets he had on Thursday, I don't know if that's going to be something that is going to be a constant week in and week out. They have so much going on with Rondell Moore and the target volume there, and just the pass catching options with Ertz and whatnot. I don't know. I don't know if you're going to count on the 15 points a week solely based off of receptions. I think he's going to have to get into the end zone a little bit more, which he was doing last year. Ironically, he was more of a red zone, end zone target. But yeah, I mean, you're rolling him out as one of your top wide receivers each week. So if that answers your question.
Wandell's a good option this week too. I agree with you. I think Pickens would be the answer, but I mean, the Giants don't have a lot of other options. We saw last week that they immediately used Wandell. He saw targets. He had a high snap count, and I just keep getting back to they drafted him in the 3rd round, and everybody was like, "What?" Like, this is way before anybody was projecting. And I just think with a team like that obviously right now is being run very well by the head coach, I think they had a plan in mind in drafting Wandell Robinson, and that's why I do think he has value, moving forward. But I'm with you that Pickens' upside to me is too big to bench for Wandell right now.
Yeah, especially with Pickett coming back as well, that we've seen that immediately he doesn't care if people are covered. He will throw it downfield, and I think this might be quite a high scoring game. So yeah, Pickens. But just to jump on what Keith said, Wandale Robinson is someone that I wrote about for the buy low as a buy low candidate in a piece in the last couple of days. And the Giants have all these really kind of weird personnel packages with multiple tight ends and multiple running backs just because they've got no receivers. So that opportunity for Robinson is really, really clear. They were hyping him up over the summer. So going forward, I mean, this week, I would go with Pickens, but going forward, Robinson's a really, really interesting option for people.
And for those who haven't yet, head over to fantasyandframes.com today. We are posting as we're going throughout the morning, giving you this information. So yesterday we had Jonathan's buy low, sell high article come out. We've had our fantasy football start and sits on offense come out. The crew here has done a great job every single week putting together a synopsis of every position as far as like the upside plays per position. So check that out. IDP kind of dropped the ball on that this weekend, but I will be putting it up before the 1 o'clock kickoff for the afternoon slate of games, as well as for Sunday night football and Thursday night or Monday night football. So we'll have you covered there. Of course, our rankings are live over at fantasyandframes.com, and we'll be finalizing them throughout the morning as we're hearing more and more news come out from the various beat reporters around the league. Got some more questions. We got questions blowing up this chat line this morning. This is fantastic.
So what happens when you have the A team here, Jorge?
And I promise, folks, we will get to our game-by-game breakdowns. And, of course, Keith has been very generous. He's going to be helping you out with some of his top plays at some of these games for today. So if you haven't checked out our Fantasy and Frames Instagram page, we have both Keith and Joe's from the Daily Fix podcast. They're expensive, they're median, and they're bargain play tiers, rosters. For your DraftKings lineups. They've been hitting. So you guys have been doing so well. It is amazing how well you guys have been doing. Folks who are out there, literally, do you like money? Put the players they're suggesting into your lineups. Okay. And that's it. That's all you got to do. That's
no
how
pressure.
Nobody exactly. These guys are fantastic. Head over to our Instagram page, check it all out. And just subscribe to that podcast, the Daily Fix podcast, folks. All right. Sorry about that. Fernando, what's going on, buddy? How's Les doing in Las Vegas? Should I start Burrow or Dak?
Too long of a pause. It's Joe.
I was going to say, I think it's easy.
You think so?
Not even close, if you ask me. I think that I have them separated by, quite a bit.
You have Burrow higher?
Yeah.
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 I was going to say Atlanta's awful against the pass.
Yeah.
Only Jacoby Brissett was not a top 12 quarterback the week that he played the Falcons. And I want to remind you, we played Stafford playing awful. There's been Jameis Winston, who he can't even seem to wrangle the job from Andy Dalton. We're bad. We're bad against the pass. I expect Burrow. I love Higgins this week in DK because he's a little bit cheaper, but roll with Chase, roll with Boyd. We've got a lot of injuries too in the secondary, which is even more bad news for my Atlanta Falcons. But I really expect Burrow and the Bengals to have a get-right game. And unfortunately, my Falcons 6-0 against the spread, I think, may finally come to an end today. But I'm very confident. Burrow's my favorite play at QB this week on DFS by a lot.
That's
They looked much better last week. And it's not, with the Falcons, I don't think they're really going to get too much pressure onto Burrow. I think he'll have enough time to throw. So, I really like Burrow this week.
Yep. All the above.
You are welcome, Fernando. Okay, let's go to our next one here. Jelly of the month. Are you subscribed to us on YouTube? Because you should be, because we'd appreciate that. Bi-week flex, current Jamal Williams with Swift out PPR, switch for Pacheco or Bateman this week.
I'd stick with Jamal Williams.
Yeah, I would too.
Still. I mean, I know the matchup against Dallas is not exactly like ideal, but just straight volume and usage alone should help supersede any of the unknown with Pacheco and Bateman that first game back. I still worry.
Yeah.
To me, that's certainly the safest play there. I mean, Bateman, I wanted to have a look at what his status actually was because, I mean, again, Bateman was someone that I absolutely loved coming into this year, and I mean, I really hope that he can kind of get healthy and get the targets that we think he should be getting. But yeah, I agree with Jamal Williams on that.
Yeah, 2 of his 3 starts, he's finished top 7 at the position. Again, I know it's against the Cowboys, but you're going to get volume. There's no questions about who's going to get how many carries in that offense. And the big thing is the goal line carries. He's seen 6 red zone touches in the last two games, so I would roll with Williams.
Sorry, we got another question here. Any sleeper tight ends y'all like this week?
Oh yeah.
All right.
How much time you got? Cade Otton for the Bucks is number 1. If you look, when Brayton missed last time, he saw 7 targets, 6 receptions. This Bucks team can't run the ball. Brady's throwing it 50 times a game. Obviously, that's good for the tight end. There's some buzz, with the Denver, and I'll butcher his name. Jorge, I apologize. Greg, is it Delucci?
We have no idea.
Okay, that makes me feel better.
We were having this discussion the other day. Like, I don't know how to pronounce what this name is. Yeah.
But, I mean, what a start, right? 3 receptions, 40 yards. The Broncos are just begging to find ways to be able to move the ball. So, obviously, I think he's going to get some more opportunities. Mo Ali Cox is playing a Titans team that has struggled against tight ends. He scored 20-plus points in their first matchup in week 4. Hayden Hurst is playing the Falcons, who have given up top 12 tight end every single week versus Falcons. 6 weeks, every tight end that they played has finished top 12. There's a lot of kind of low-tier guys out there this week. I would not spend on tight end in DFS this week and take one of the lower guys. And Dalton Schultz, by the way, is back. He's only, I think, like 4,300. Lions are horrible against tight ends. That could be like a real boom play.
Well, let's go with as far as his question is phrased is, would you drop Evan Ingram for any of the players that you just mentioned? Because it's not DFS. No, he just said any sleeper tight end this week.
I'm saying
it's not DFS.
I would not. Evan Ingram has been pretty consistent. He's getting looks each week. And the rest of those guys, until they show you something, Otton and, the 2 rookies are obviously interesting, but I want to see a pattern and not just one game before I drop a guy that I know is a, pretty focal part of the offense. And we're 6 weeks in, and he's at least, I think, got 4 targets in every game.
Yeah. Would you start Pacheco over Montgomery or Etienne this week? I would start Etienne over both of those.
He looked good last week. He's really kind of starting to show his potential.
No Bears though this week. Pats, Belichick, knowing that they can't throw the ball, I think that's going to be a nightmare for the Bears.
Agreed. You guys are amazingly engaged. We're tuning in a lot. Awesome. Thanks, man. Appreciate that. Or gal. I can't really put together. I don't want to assume. But thank you very much. Got Malcolm here. IDP question. Which linebacker would you pick between Dre Greenlaw, Tranquil, Greenlaw, Nate?
Yeah, I do lean Greenlaw, but man, Tranquil's coming off such a really good game. I think if anything's happened in this match, I mean, my biggest takeaway would be the fact that I think that Greenlaw will be on the field more than Tranquil will be, because I get the feeling that Seattle's not going to do much against this Chargers defense. So, I mean, pure volume side, I'll lean Greenlaw, but I do have him close. I might have to switch around because I have Tranquil ahead of Greenlaw right now, but I think I'm convincing myself to move those now. So, yeah, Greenlaw.
Okay. Let's see here. We got Don Cat 91 back here. Need to decide between David Montgomery, Tony Pollard, and Jamal Williams. Already starting Eckler and Jacobs. Man, it's kind of hard for me to go against Pollard. He just seems to produce week in and week out. Jonathan, what are your thoughts here?
Yeah, I would go with Pollard. I think, to me, that's going to be a positive game script. I think are they 6.5, 7-point favorites? Detroit Detroit just don't look good defensively at all. So yeah, I think a good positive game script for Dallas. Pollard's looked good when he's got touches. So yeah, I would go with Pollard.
Last 3 games, Lions have given up 418 yards on the ground.
So we got Phil Simmons, aka Porkman, on Twitter for the Dynasty Rewind. Good morning, dude.
Hey, buddy.
Jelly of the Month just subscribed, and thanks.
Yeah,
thank you very much. Come back anytime. Let's see. We've got another question here from DJ Duvernay. Appreciate it. Would you guys do Pacheco over Montgomery then? Got Montgomery in the flex, and Etienne no doubt is in my lineup.
Oh man,
Did he say it was a PPR league or not?
Let me scroll back up here. Doesn't say, he
PPR,
says his pick.
I might roll the dice, but otherwise, I would let Pacheco go if it's just a standard, because I just don't think the Bears are going to be able to do anything against that Pats defense.
Yeah, DJ Duvernay, you mentioned that Pickens and Wandale were in a full PPR. Is this that same league or is it a different league? But yeah, if it's PPR, I don't know. In this instance, I think I may go Pacheco, to be honest with you. I just maybe it's full PPR, he says. Yeah. Yeah.
And I don't know if that separates my opinion as much as just because we've seen last year that Montgomery in his most valuable time was utilization in the passing game. Those last 6 games of the season is when Montgomery was so elite because they did involve him. Now, again, completely different offense, completely different scenario. And New England is just what do we keep saying every week for 10 plus years? Belichick's going to take away the one thing that they do well. And if anybody believes that's,
what anything
other than Montgomery, exactly. I don't know.
I guess that's a good point.
Right. I don't know that answer. That's the problem. But it is, I mean, they run the ball, third most time of any team in the league. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it's their running game, but it's gross.
Yeah, Fields is throwing it at the lowest rate of any starting QB. And the other thing that you've got to think about with Montgomery is the fact that Khalil Herbert is there and has looked good when he's got the ball. So it's not as if you're splitting touches in a bad offense. The more I think about it, the more I kind of lean Pacheco here.
Yeah, I'll co-sign with that now too. Either PPR or none.
I got another question here. Somebody read this real quickly while I send out comments.
Wants to know, should I trade Cortland Sutton, Deontay Foreman, and Isaiah Pacheco for CeeDee Lamb?
Yes, run. Yeah. Run, do it, dude, for sure. Do it.
Before the other person changes their mind, go and do it.
Yes. Unless you're just a disaster at running back, which I guess that would be the one that you always got to ask your lineup. But man, you're winning that trade, in my opinion, big time.
Well, here's what it said. I have no use for the other guys. My other running backs are Barkley, Hall, and Taylor.
Oh, yeah, dude. Run and do it. Yes.
Mm-hmm. And I think after this week, even more so, it's going to be paramount because I think all the hype of Deonta Foreman is up. And then after he has this,
Like
8
the air going
carry,
out of a balloon.
8 carry, 32 yards, no touchdown. I hope that's not the case, but it's Tampa. And that's going to be just such a challenge that his trade value is the absolute highest right now.
I mean, Carolina's goal now is right to get the number 1 pick and have a quarterback. I mean, that's what they're saying, right? By what they're doing. So I would try to get away from as many Carolina guys as I can.
So I'm just saying this, and I don't know if this is news that has been news to everybody else here, but Darren Waller is out, or at least
he was out. Yes.
Okay, that's crazy. Let's see here. Another question
that was
here.
yet another tight end. Actually, I'm sorry that I meant to mention is Foster is definitely he's 2,500 on DK, and he's not a bad option this week.
Jelly of the month, Mark Andrews, good to go. CBS still has questionable tag. I mean, as far as he's still technically good to go, but I would look for Isaiah Likely on your waiver wire, and if you have an empty spot there, you just may want to put him in there, even if it's just for today. Because if you find out 11:45 that Andrews is gone, by 11:46, somebody's probably already gone and gotten Isaiah Likely off of your waiver wire already.
It's one of the few tight ends that you should have if you're in it. You know what I'm saying? Like where you have that handcuff, because Likely is so talented. We know how much Lamar likes to throw to tight ends. I think that's a great point, Jorge, that, if you got Andrews, you better, have Likely, because if say it's something serious happens, you got a guy that's going to be heavily involved in the offense, and we know is a talented pass catcher as well.
Got Jeremy here. Hey guys, what's up, dude? Sutton or Gallup this week? Scared of Jets defensive backs and a backup QB crushing Sutton. I'm firing up all my Cowboys this week. I say my Cowboys because that's I need to.
This is a Washington fan. I feel dirty right now, Jorge.
Where's the steel wool? I need to scrub it off. I was saying my Cowboys. Yeah, no, I would fire Gallup up this week. Absolutely.
Yeah, he's been looking much better. I mean, you see his snap share increasing, his targets increasing. Obviously, Dak coming back. There's obviously opportunity there outside of CD Lamb that he is going to be the number 2. So yeah, but I saw a tweet yesterday about how funny it would be if Brett Ripien was actually put up like 30 points today. Just how funny that would be in the whole situation of everything that's happened.
Yeah, that's exactly what's going to happen. If there's any narratives, if there's any script being written by the NFL to
Twitter will have a field day with the Bronco up, or
Did anybody see the tweet? And I don't even know if it actually was real, but they said the second Wilson got declared out, that Cortland Sutton's ADP, or not ADP.
Oh yeah, it went up. Yes.
Went up. I need to fact check that because that'd be pretty funny if it did.
That would be.
All right, DonCat91 over on YouTube says needs to start 2. I played D-Hop Thursday. It's PPR. Okay. Keenan Allen, Devin Duvernay, Zay Jones, DJ Moore.
Hunter Renfrow.
I mean, Keenan's a definite, right? And then it would be the other guys.
See, I don't think they play Keenan Allen. All the reports I've been reading this week is he's questionable. He could play, but then
late game as well. So it's if you bank on that being a late game, then
are any of those other games late?
But then, and all the beat reporters, and they've even asked him and his coaches, wouldn't it make sense just to keep him out this week so we could have 2 weeks because of their bye next week to rest his hamstring? And even Keenan Allen has come out and said, yeah, that would be smart. Literally. So I'm kind of worried that he's actually not going to play.
He could do the Renfrow, though, because I like Renfrow on that spot, too, where Keenan be one of them and Renfrow be your backup. And then
I could say without Darren Waller, I might like Renfrow more than everybody else.
Yeah.
Yeah, so Renfrow, and then who's the second one? You just start 2.
If Bateman's out, I like Duvernay a lot.
Yeah, no. What time is that game?
That's 1 o'clock.
Okay, so that we'll know at least in advance.
Oh, wait a minute. Maybe it's not. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I don't. Is it?
Yeah, it is. Sorry. It is. It's like the last 1 p.m. game on ESPN.
Gotcha. I see it now.
All right, we got an IDP question from Jeremy. Nate Okereke. Oh, thank you. Okereke. Or Drew Tranquil this week.
Golly, that man. Again, 2 spots separating these two as well. And so here, 2 weeks ago, I was totally out of on Okereke because I was worried about EJ Speed stepping back in, was taking some snaps away, and with Shaq Leonard, it just felt like a muddy situation. But I think I'm still gonna lean Drew Tranquil. I do. I think it's close, but I just feel like Tranquil has a little bit more of that. I guess, Jeremy, the question would be, and it's such a simple question, yet no one will ever know all these answers. Are you looking for upside, or are you looking for the safe floor? You know what I mean? It's like every question can be phrased that way. Like, oh, well, do you want the ceiling play or the floor play? Because the ceiling play for me is Drew Tranquil. The floor play is Okereke.
We've discussed this before too, Nate, that it's important to look at your matchup and figure out what do I need in this situation. Am I, looking like I'm going to lose, so I need that blow up game, or if it's maybe you're projected to win slightly, you take the one with the higher floor.
Yep. And Jorge, don't you dare show Ken's comment.
Don't
even do it. Don't even do it.
I just read it.
Nope. We'll teach you to be a comedian, Ken. We won't even give you airtime.
The thing is, we've got to put it up now for everyone that can't see the comment.
That's right. Come on.
Yeah, it is worth it.
He says, I wouldn't do Tranquil. He puts me to sleep. Okay, I'll see myself out. Jesus. Oh, God. Don Cat 91. Thanks, boys. No, sir. Thank you for joining us today. Or madam. I don't want to assume. That's 2 times.
It's a gentleman.
Well,
Don's one of our old school DFS boys, man. Don's a good dude.
Well, there we go. You're welcome, Don. Donald. Okay, whatever.
Well, I know. I just, he's like, why you call me Don now, Keith?
Let's see here. What else do you say? Finally, a weekend off work to tune in. Nice. Awesome. Love the support. Love Keith. Keith has been a great member of the Fantasy and Frames family all year, and we're very lucky to have him and Joe.
And quit your job. Just do DFS full time with Keith. Put the onus on him that if you quit that, it's your full time job, that he has to support that. So no pressure there, Keith.
No pressure.
Or Joe. But yeah. So Don, let us know how, or Donald, I don't know
how it works out for you.
Wherever we're at yet. Feel like we're best friends. Does that mean we circle back and actually talk
about games?
What a flurry. I love it.
I do too. Which I will say, the one thing I love about a lot of the start sit questions intermingling in between these is because it answers a lot of the questions that we may have had as a group collectively about some of these games. We talked earlier about Cincinnati, Jorge, and the game against Atlanta. And you obviously were contemplating between Dak and Burrow, maybe rightfully so. Dak's done nothing to not be in consideration, but Keith, you and I, and Jonathan, did you agree with Burrow there? I didn't. I feel like I give you a chance
I love Burrow this week. He's Cincinnati looked more like their old selves last week, starting to get back to what we saw last year. And as Keith said, Atlanta aren't. I don't think they're going to cause Burrow too many problems with pressure and that kind of thing. So.
They're not. I wish we could, but they're not.
Yeah, I hate to say last week was an anomaly. Keith, all right, get your calculator out.
Exactly.
Start figuring this out.
But here's the thing, though. Like, I understand the great matchup here, but this is also a battered defense of the Lions, and you're getting like one of the best quarterbacks in football coming back with some of the best weapons in all of football coming back in Dallas this week versus Detroit. I mean, can you really go?
Dak is a great play as well this week. I mean, Detroit had 32nd in overall defensive DVOA, so like I wouldn't have any worries about plugging Dak right back in after his injury.
And don't you think even though Detroit is god awful against the run, Dallas is going to take this opportunity to kind of get Dak going, right? Like even if they get up early, they're going to make sure that they want to feel good about their passing game, by the time this game's over with.
That's an interesting narrative because I think that there's a chance that maybe it's the other way and that they ease Dak in and they get the victory and they squash all those Cooper rushes better for the team as a team dynamic and say, look, we can win with Dak. The crazy thing though is that you're and eyes. I think both of those are two very, very viable scenarios that we could see unfold. I think that I would like to believe yours a lot more and say, hey, here you go, Dak. You're gonna throw for 425 and 3 touchdowns, and we're gonna squash the Cooper Rush rumors that way instead of just,
unless that backfires, right? And he throws for 400 yards and they lose, to your point, and then it's like, oh shit.
Yeah, it's sorry, Cowboys fans, you now have that dilemma in your brain that you have to think about for the rest of this game. Jorge?
Yes, sir.
What are we doing with the Falcons running game? Because I don't trust. I guess I should probably direct these to Keith since he is the preeminent 3-3 Falcons fan.
Guaranteed 6 victories and was laughed on this show week 1.
And you might still have a chance to get laughed at.
Easiest schedule in football the rest of the way. I hope not.
What do we do with the running room? With that running back room there, it's
a great matchup because the Bengals they've got some injuries. They've struggled against the run. We obviously know that's what we want to do. But what's so scary is like last week, right? We played almost a perfect game. And I guess other than Kyle Pitts, which we can say finally scored a touchdown, thank God, nobody had like a great fantasy game, right? Like everybody was really good. The offense was great. But for fantasy, it was pretty awful. I mean, Mariota was like 11-12 for 124 yards. I know he had a rushing touchdown as well. You got to worry about both Huntley and Algier running the ball, plus Mariota. I'm not worried to plug them in if I have like no other option, but I'm seeking other options than just about anybody on this Falcons offense right now because we're about the team more than the individual as much as any team in football right now. From fantasy perspective.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Ugly.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So Jeremy's got an ugly flex. Pick 2, Sutton, Wandale, or DJ Moore.
PPR?
Yeah, PJ Moore's a really interesting one to think about now with CMC gone because, you saw PJ Walker last week, like barely threw past the line of scrimmage. So DJ Moore should see more targets, but I can't remember which. I think it might have been Underdog Fantasy. We're kind of saying, yes, he's probably going to see another 2 or 3 targets, but it's probably going to result in like an extra 6 yards.
Exactly.
It's not. So yeah, if it's PPR,
it's
I
half.
still have a half.
Yeah.
To me, I would definitely go with Sutton, just because I still think he's going to be the number 1 target there.
Yeah.
I'm really interested in Wandale Robinson this week, just considering how well he played last week.
That's mine. I'm going to go Sutton and Wandale. As much as it hurts me not to want to believe in DJ Moore, but even with the 28% target share, I think is the number that I saw from the last, couple weeks, they're not translating to anything valuable. And
not even double-digit game in PPR leagues. That's rough.
Yeah, exactly. It's like
and that's seeing like he'll probably get 5 or 6 receptions, but it'll be for 30 yards, and it'll
And he has the ability to catch and yak and make something out of it, but it's like he's not even given a chance because all the routes that they're having him run have like a defined stopping point, and it's not getting him into space as well as he needs to be. And I don't know. Let's be honest. What do you think? And this is not a knock on DJ Moore, but what's his motivation right now? Play for a team that's going to tank and get Stroud, or not get hurt. Yeah.
They're talking about he's a trade possibility, which, man, there's some teams that, like, you tell me Aaron Rodgers wouldn't like to have DJ Moore or, some of these guys.
But then they just came out 2 days ago and said that DJ Moore is not a trade option. He is their foundational piece they want to build around. I believe that as much as I believe the Falcons are a 6-win team.
Ouch.
Well.
Wow.
I'm just kidding. Actually, I'm going to take this time to say I'm sorry, because I do think that there were signs, glimmers of hope that this team could actually get some victories. I think the game against San Francisco was telling that if they could establish a pass rush, which is still challenging at best, that we'll see the usage there. that they can stay. They have pieces to stay in game. I worry this week because a lot of those pieces are kind of mangled and broken and discombobulated. But yeah, they looked a lot better. So
great coaching too. Arthur Smith's a great coach.
He is.
He really is.
Just quickly on DJ Moore, I think if you're in a dynasty league and you're rebuilding this year, you don't care about scoring points this year, I would go and buy DJ Moore because I think one of two things is going to happen. He's either going to be traded to a better team, to a contender, at which point you can flip him, or he's going to be on the Panthers next year and they're going to probably have the number 1 pick and have a much better an upgrade at the QB position.
Yeah.
So I think he's a really obvious buy if you're a rebuilding team.
Yeah, so young, too much options.
Yeah.
Defensive side of the ball here. From what I've seen here, Nate, you and I you were talking about Arnold Ebiketie last week and his pressures and just how he just needs to get that opportunity more and more. But according to the injury reports here, the person he was starting for, is it Ogundeji or Ogundeji?
I don't. Yeah, Keith.
No, don't ask. I was about to say you're going to ask me. It's Agalabala.
Galabala, go get that on the jersey. He was full practice the last 2 days and is so.
All of them have been. Michael Walker full practice, AJ Terrell, Isaiah Oliver, Ogundeji, Taquan.
But reading local papers, like they're banged up.
Of course, absolutely. And that was the thing, Jorge, with Ebiketie is he lined up outside tackle the most he ever has, and that translated into elite pressure rate, a great game overall. And now he's going to be moved back inside, and how long? Who knows? Maybe only this week. Maybe they don't. Maybe they say, hey, you know what? We're going to test something out a little bit more and see. I think the biggest factor is Troy Anderson.
Man, that dude is.
He's so, I mean, like I said, this is supposed to be fun, and that was more fun watching. Michael Walker's been excellent. I can't take anything away from that. So Michael Walker's a start, when playing, but Trey Anderson's the hold and wait and see what they do.
11, 12 tackles though in his first game that he got real action.
Trey Anderson, yeah. He was targeted heavy amount of times, which I could see the same thing in this game as well. But yeah, on the Cincinnati side of the ball, Jorge, we've talked about Jermaine Pratt in a few different shows so far. Clearly, I think we all think that he's got the skill set and the opportunity to step into that LB2 role now. As you've mentioned, every time he's had the opportunity to do it and given the keys to the car, he's driven it well and always paid off to his fantasy owners. So the same thing can be said this week.
And of course, you're starting your Von Bells and you're starting your Hendricksons and Hubbards. Sorry. All right, let's go on to the next matchup. We were just talking about it a little bit, so we won't probably spend too much time. Detroit, Dallas. I'm very big on starting up your Cowboys this week. No DeAndre Swift this week. Announced last night he needs another week to, I'm not going to say who saw this coming, but who saw this coming.
Hopefully it was you, because don't be giving kudos to Nate.
I have a lot of DeAndre Swift, so
I do too. That's why.
No, but let's continue the victory lap session on injuries, Jorge. Go ahead. Banner you wanted to raise above your head and run? Do you need a flag, or is this?
I do. Could you? I need the people who run with the banners at the football games from side to side. I need that going across the back of my office right now.
And who's running up behind you to grab that? Is that Travis Etienne while James Robinson sits on the bench? Who's running the anchor leg now? My pants. What's that one gonna do for you?
That's
at least
fair.
Hurt doesn't give me an option to have to start DeAndre Swift and watch him waste away on the bench.
Yes. Okay, maybe I had that coming. Okay, maybe. But for Detroit, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jamal Williams. I'm personally not a fan of Hawkinson this week. The Cowboys have been really good at halting tight end production. Amon-Ra seems like the person that they're going to be covering the most, and Jamal Williams, ironically, I think Jamal Williams is probably the best fantasy asset for the Lions this week. Which is, I don't know if that's saying a lot or a little, but He's the one I feel the most confident in producing. Anybody else have any comments as far as the offensive skill players here for Detroit and Dallas?
Just if you're in DK, look at some of the lines, other receivers not named Brown, because I think they're going to be down. They're cheap. And it could be a situation where you can get 10 to 15 points out of a guy. It's in like I think Reynolds and those guys are in like the 3,500 to 4,300 range. So if you're looking for a cheap receiver to put in your lineup so you can play a lot of these other guys that we like a lot more, that is some options.
Let's go to the defensive side of the ball. Nate, for people who are, deficient at defensive line, Aiden Hutchinson, is this somebody that you're potentially has the shine faded from the Aiden Hutchinson bandwagon crew, or people should be excited about him this week?
I think we should be this week. The answer is no. To take away from Aiden Hutchinson and like that is probably unfair a little bit as far as who the player he is and can be. But yeah, this week I don't like it at all. I mean, Dallas is just stingy. I don't think they've allowed 4 sacks on the season. Somehow that offensive line is just making it work.
Right.
I don't understand it, but at the same
everybody's
time,
like, "Oh, their line's going to suck," and it's as good as it was like 3 years ago. It's crazy.
Yeah, and everybody's probably right. On paper, the line should have sucked, and because with the amount of injuries and any team that has 3 backups starting and scenarios like that, then typically, yeah. But no, Hutchinson just, I mean, he hasn't had a sack since your Commanders game, but I just don't see a situation. And Charles Harris being out, if I'm Dallas, I'm heavy loading that side of the line, making sure that Aiden doesn't get in the backfield a ton. I think there's probably maybe a Malcolm Rodriguez game. I really like that player. Unfortunately, Anzalone. That's 2 good ones, or Deshaun Elliott. All 3 of those plays are solid for Detroit. I think they'll be on the field a lot. Dallas, I don't know. That defensive line is, I think, my favorite in football right now, as far as like watching it. Washington's a close second too, Jorge. Actually, I'll tell you,
at it, man.
The whole NFC East might be the best group of pass rushing front 4 or 3 to 4, whatever the norm is anymore. Everybody has a good rotation, it seems like. Dallas is starting with everybody. Dorrance Armstrong. What'd you call him last week? DeMarcus Ware. Yeah, he looked like DeMarcus Ware reincarnate. And
exactly.
I mean, it's everybody.
Yeah. Let me ask you a question.
I know what you're going to ask me, aren't you? You're going to ask me J-Ron Curse or Donovan Wilson,
or both.
Crap, I know it. I don't know. Because maybe Malik Hooker too.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Why not?
Yeah,
probably both. But I'm going to say Wilson, Curse, Hooker in that order.
Okay, let's go to Indy and Tennessee. Let's start with defense and finish with offense. Okay, let's do that. Let's Danico Autry. We talked about this in a couple podcasts we did this past week. It's all kind of like when we talk about defensive linemen, we're talking about the one-on-one matchups that they'll be facing this week. And ideally speaking, he should be taking on Matt Pryor at right tackle. But as we've discussed over the course of the week, that Matt Pryor just isn't really good at really any position, according to Pro Football Focus. And so we're hoping that he stays at he gets kicked back out to right tackle. But last week he went to right guard, and the person who filled in for him at right tackle was actually okay. Are you still waiting to take the gamble on Danico Autry, or do you think there's somebody else people could probably start in his place that they shouldn't really be too gung-ho about him?
Man, I mean, that defensive line is definitely a volume play more so than like a metric play. It's concerning at times. I love the matchup because that offensive line has been terrible and it's exploitable, and that's a situation to do. We talk about like Jonathan, Keith, and all of us have said on the offensive side of the ball, you look at matchups, and that's what it is. All right, this team's terrible against tight end, or this team's bad against the running back. Indy's bad against stopping pass rushers, but I like the ones that play more outside edge, and that's the only downside with the Nico Autry. Sometimes he has the versatility to move inside and out because of his size. If I felt comfortable with him moving to the outside, then yeah. But this is a big circle. I feel like I'm trying to land the plane, but I'm not, because I get in my head and I start talking. I was like, wait, what if Tennessee thinks the same thing I'm thinking? They go, hell, this guy can move inside and beat Matt Pryor if he plays right guard again. Let's slide him inside and get that interior pressure. I'm gonna say Nico Autry is gonna be a low end DL3 this week.
Okay, that's fair. For Tennessee, David Long. Is David Long? Yeah, you're starting David Long, or LB3.
What do we think with Jonathan Taylor, workload wise?
Man, that's a great question. I don't know if he gets the full complement of touches that he has been this week, but that he has been in previous weeks. But so I think you may not get as much production from David Long this week as you normally would have, given the circumstances. Let's see here on the Indy side of the ball. No Darius Shaquille Leonard, which means
no Kwity Paye.
That didn't make it any more confusing to figure out who the hell he is.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's pretty much you're starting, like we said, Parquet, Zaire Franklin, DeForest Buckner, and move on. Go to the
offensive side. Let's go to the offensive side here. Alec Pierce. Let me tell you, this guy the past couple weeks has been balling out for Indianapolis. Keith, you're nodding your head. Is he somebody that for DFS lineups people should be paying attention to?
He was my bargain tier wide receiver this week. I really like Matt Ryan this week. The Titans are one of the worst defenses in the league versus QBs. They've played 5 games. 4 times the quarterback facing them has finished in the top 10, including Matt Ryan, who threw for 350 yards and 2 touchdowns in their first matchup in week 4. I actually really like the Ryan Pierce Pittman double stack, where you can get 2 receivers that are not too expensive. I think Pittman's $7,500. No, Pierce is $46. Ryan's only $53. So you're going to spend about $19,000 and then fill in your lineup around that, because I think the Colts kind of found something these last couple of weeks. I expect them to get right. And just to remind people, this Titans D is so bad against the pass that my co-host Joe the Brain Mats, De'Ami Brown, 2 weeks or 3 weeks ago at $3,000. I'm going, Joe. De'Ami Brown hadn't played in weeks. He goes, Titans suck. He's going to play. He played 12, or I think it was 15% of the snaps. Only ran 14 routes, and he had 2 catches, over 100 yards, 2 touchdowns. It was one of the greatest calls in DFS history. That's how bad the Titans are against the pass. I love Matt Ryan, love Pierce, love Pittman. And again, if you want to go with Mo Alley Cox, he had a huge game against them last time, scored over 20 points. I think there's better options there, but absolutely should feel comfortable using quarterback and receiver for the Colts.
Jonathan, Matt Ryan or Jimmy G this week?
I'm with Keith on this one. I'm going Matt Ryan. Titans are allowing the 5th most points to QBs. Keith has already sort of explained the last, recent trends that we've seen. So yeah, I'm going Matt Ryan.
On the Tennessee side of the ball, obviously you're starting Derrick Henry, but Bill Mustafa had a good point for why he's high on Robert Woods this week. To read more about that, head over to fantasyandframes.com today.
You mean Bobby Trees?
Bobby Trees, exactly. And read our Fantasy Football Chasing Upside article. Let's go to Green Bay and Washington. Ouch. The spread, the 41.5 points. That's crazy. I was not expecting that with Taylor Heineke joining the show here for Washington. But hey, Vegas, right? They know, apparently.
The Herberts last week was proof of it. He had thrown a touchdown in 36 of 37 games. They set the over-under at 1. He didn't throw a touchdown. It's unbelievable. Right. He gets nose, man.
Let's start. Let's do the same thing we did last game. Let's go with defense first, Nate. Devondre Campbell for Green Bay. Maybe Quay Walker, but mostly just the Devondre Campbell show for the Packers, and then Rashawn Gary as an edge rusher. Mm-hmm. Has Preston Smith done enough, or has he been consistent enough, do you think, that people should start considering him as like a DL3? Or is he more of like a spot start, fill in type of thing.
Man,
Player.
It's definitely I'm gonna say fill in scenario. If you look at the season, the problem with the fill in player is that I don't even know. I'm looking in depth, and it's like very quietly has given really good pressure numbers, while the sacks he still is, according to PFF sacks, which translate to me to pressures sometimes if you're going to keep track one way. The 4 sacks with the 19 pressures is elite. It's just it's an up and down weeks. It goes, he had 5 and 6, and then sandwiches that with no pressures against Tampa, none against New England, and then the battle in the Jets and the Giants. He's 4 and 3. I can never say he's reliable because that feels like I never give him the due credit. Maybe I need to reassess that and look again. I mean, he's consistently put up 3+ pressures. I don't know if I like this matchup necessarily as much as like the one-on-one, but
Right.
Very sneaky, Jonathan. I didn't realize Preston Smith, you probably watch it a lot more closely than I do, that he is having that many pressures. It just doesn't seem like his name ever echoes with me or sticks with me too much.
Yeah, it's possibly just because Rashawn Gary gets so many of the headlines and plaudits that he is he's been one of the only kind of good, consistent players defensively. So it's probably kind of just partly that he's getting so many plaudits.
Okay, let's go to the Washington side of the ball. Cole Holcomb this week, linebacker. Cameron Curl, Jonathan Allen, defensive
when's
line.
Chase Young coming back?
That's a great question. I don't know if he will come back this year, depending on how bad he's playing.
A couple of best ball leagues, but
yeah.
Did Jonathan Allen get traded from the Jaguars?
That's Josh Allen.
Oh, it's Josh Allen. Gotcha. Okay.
Yep. The other Josh Allen in the NFL. Yeah.
Yeah, the other.
Yeah. I don't know if you heard of that one before.
The original.
For offense, let's go. Let's start with Washington. Green Bay has been horrible against stopping the run. The question here is are you rolling with Robinson or are you rolling with Antonio Gibson this week, Dave?
Oh my God, we're dumpster diving already.
Yes.
If I had to guess, it would say I'd be Robinson, but there's so many better options. I mean, I wouldn't even have him in my top 24.
That's a bad take.
It's so bad that Nate's like, I'm out. I can't do this.
Gibson definitely no. Robinson is a maybe. I mean, he's a good pass catching back. I get it, but I just don't trust his offense. We've got Taylor Heineke back. We just don't know what this offense is going to bring.
It doesn't matter. The Packers' run D is trash right now. Robinson had 17 carries. I think it was McKissick and Gibson combined for like 6 last week. So Robinson's definitely the guy. But remember that Saquon Barkley and Breece Hall both went over 100 yards, had a touchdown. Their quarterbacks threw for a combined 285 yards in those games. So it doesn't matter if Heineke's bad. The Packers just cannot stop the run. I think Robinson's a really good play for DFS today, and I would be confident to have him in standard leagues as well. Not saying that Washington's going to be great or anything, but, I mean, the Packers can't really score, so I don't see them putting up a ton of points. And I think Robinson's going to get at least 75 yards and probably score today.
Yeah, it's a safe floor there, I think, and the Packers' rush defense thing has been a historical issue. It's not as if it's just this year. It's been like the last 2 or 3 years that they just haven't been able to stop the run. If I'm going for one, I'm going Robinson. He's not seeing that many targets, but as we've seen, the Packers can't stop anyone on the ground at the moment.
Jonathan, pick one: Alan Lazard or Romeo Doubs this week.
Alan Lazard for me. I know that Keith agrees with this. I saw his. I think he was in the median plays. Obviously, the Packers' offense hasn't been good recently, but Lazard has been one of the kind of sole good options there. I wrote about him as a buy low option in the piece over the weekend. He's seeing consistent targets. I think he's seen 8. At least 8 over the last 3 weeks. He's seeing red zone targets. I think he's already scored 4 touchdowns this year. He's not leaving the field, obviously. Rodgers trusts him, and Washington have. I think they've given up like the 5th most points against wide receivers or something this year. It's certainly high. So yeah, I'm very happy to plug Lazard into my lineups this week.
It should be worse too. Washington, I think, is 24th against wide receivers, but their last 3 games, they played against Cooper Rush, Ryan Tannehill, and Justin Fields. And I just wrote down some of the receivers in games that have had good against the secondary. Pettis and Mooney for the Bears, 11 receptions, 150 yards and a score. Devontae Smith, A.J. Brown, 13 receptions, 255 yards, 2 scores. CeeDee Lamb, 6 receptions, 97 yards and a score. Amon St. Brown, 9 receptions, 116 yards and 2 scores. Finally, Kirk and Zay Jones, 12 receptions, 172 yards. Everything that Jonathan was saying about Lazard, he's seeing a 20% target share, a 28% target share in the red zone. He scored at least 13.5 points on DraftKings the last 4 weeks. And the big thing to me is he's a big play guy, and the Packers offense hasn't been able to do that. This is the offense that you can do that against. I think he's got a great, like a really high floor this week, and also the potential to finally have that big breakout game where you could see him have, like, say, 100 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Holy shit. Dave, let's go back to you with Washington wide receivers here. If you had to pick one this week, are you trusting Terry McLaurin with the quarterback change? Or are you with Curtis Samuel this week?
I'm on McLaurin. McLaurin with Heineke last year. They had a really good match. So I think he got targeted, average of about roughly 7 times a game with Heineke. Yeah, he relies on him as a safety blanket. So he's got a good floor. I like Scary Terry.
All right, let's go to Tampa Bay and Carolina. Yeah, look, what can we say here? Trying to be as delicate as possible. I think all the weapons should be firing in all cylinders here for Tampa Bay, starting with, I think, their most consistent player, which has been Leonard Fournette, who I don't think is getting enough talk, even though I'm sure he's getting talked about, obviously. But I feel like for fantasy purposes, people are kind of just looking more to like, oh, when's he going to get injured next? Not what has he done so far, which could be fair to you say, but I think he's been playing. I think he's one of the unheralded conversations pieces when it comes.
Yeah, Brady sucked. He's carrying the offense. I mean,
he is. Yeah, thank you. That's exactly right. He is carrying the offense. Godwin has been getting back in the form. Mike Evans and him are starting to gel a little bit. But Brady's been sucking. It's been the running game for Tampa Bay. Carolina, they just traded away Christian McCaffrey. Dante Foreman.
Let's have this Dante Foreman conversation. I mean, what's our faith level right now? Is it anyone? I picked him up in a bunch of leagues, but
I mean, if you need a spot, but my faith is 0
because certainly today as well. Yeah,
not a good matchup against Tampa Bay today.
No. I mean, I just don't see the upside here. It's not as if they're going to be scoring points or down in the red zone much. It's, it's not something I'm excited about. But as Keith said, if you need just someone to start, and obviously loads of bye weeks, loads of injuries, and he should see targets. That's the other thing that McCaffrey had something like 10 targets last week. PJ Walker wasn't throwing beyond the line of scrimmage. There is a flaw there, but there's no ceiling.
He's only gained an internship on my rosters right now. I don't know if I want him on my full-time roster, but this is a trial run for him. See if he's good enough to stay on my roster. But I don't know. Look, he was pretty explosive in Houston when he got opportunity. So he has the talents. That's the only thing I would say with Foreman, that there is the potential there. Chuba Hubbard, I don't have faith in. So I don't know. It's hard to tell, but I think he has a chance of being an RB2, RB3.
So I guess my concern going back to Foreman is, yes, he looked fantastic last year coming on in replacement of Derrick Henry. But that Titans offensive line was a better run blocking unit than I think what Carolina has currently. So it makes me concerned whether or not he is a product of the scheme and the talent around him versus him just being able to elude defenders left and right. We will find out, obviously, later today. On the defensive side of the ball, look, you're starting your Devin White. You're starting, we were joking about this 2 weeks ago. Levante David hasn't been doing jack squat. He's not going to do anything this week. And then last week he blows up for like 14-something tackles. So it's like, I still wouldn't be jumping on the Levante David bandwagon for IDP purposes just yet. Let's see him do it a little bit more consistently throughout the season. So Devin White, another player here for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers for IDP. Mike Edwards, I believe, is coming back this week. Safety, just tackle machine. On the other side of the ball, Brian Burns, who has been talked about in terms of potential trade discussions in the NFL with Carolina. Carolina is adamant that Brian Burns is going to be a focal point of this team going forward. They're trying to get him to a new contract extension. He is a premier pass rusher. He's a premier IDP play this week going against Tampa Bay and a immobile Tom Brady. And that's pretty much the only Panther player I'm confident in. Frankie Louvu hasn't played the past couple weeks, but if he does play, and he's cleared to play, he could be somebody who has tremendous tackle upside, especially with, like I said, Fournette being the focal point of this offense for Tampa Bay. A good run-stopping linebacker never hurts you in IDP. Let's go to our next game with the Giants at Jacksonville, going down to Duval County. Saquon Barkley, yes, I like Saquon Barkley, as everybody should like Saquon Barkley. Jonathan, we mentioned Rondale Robinson as a potential play this week. Outside of those two, is there anybody that you're interested in? Daniel Bellinger at tight end, or is it just, I can find better options elsewhere? Or maybe he is somebody that you want to start.
I probably wouldn't start him, but Bellinger is someone that I'm really interested in. If you've got a spot and you can just throw him on the back end of your roster, and you don't have someone that you're starting regularly at tight end, I'm kind of I quite like what they've been doing with Bellinger. It's quite rare for a rookie tight end to come in and kind of see snaps and see work immediately. So that's really good to see. I wouldn't start him, but I think stashing him on the end of your bench, I think is a good play.
Man, we always say the tight end landscape's always thin. This year is probably the worst it's ever been, right? Outside of Kelsey, Andrews, and possibly Kittle. I mean, he's still on prove-it time. There's really no one, right? I mean, who are you safely trusting at tight end?
And Njoku, I think, has been fairly solid, but it's not as if he's seen. I think he's only scored one touchdown or something. I mean, I'm writing the upside plays at tight end this year, and every week I'm just kind of screaming at my laptop to just find something interesting.
It's definitive tiers, like you said, which if this isn't anything, Dave, so Kelsey's one, we know that 15-point separation between him and Mark Andrews. Mm-hmm. Who's number 3?
I've just looked, so I'm gonna take myself out.
Tanya,
Smith,
Zach Ertz. Let's go, Zach Ertz.
Yeah, I couldn't even tell you. I'm just guessing at this point, to be honest.
So, depending upon scoring format, of course, but you can either see it's Ertz or Taysom Hill.
That's such bullshit.
That doesn't count.
That
doesn't count.
I hate it.
Get that running back out of here. No, I know. I hear you.
Stupid Saints.
Got a question here from Jeremy. Half PPR, Rashad White looking for garbage time, or Kenyon Drake, who knows? Keith, I want to throw this to you. Okay, I want to throw this to you because you mentioned Drake, right? But then on the pod this week with you and Joe, you were talking about, man, if Gus Edwards cuts back and he's clear. Right. Okay. So if you had to pick between one of these two running backs, you said you're going Drake?
Yeah, 486 yards, 6 touchdowns. I've said it 50 times this week. That is what the Browns have given up the last 3 games to the Chargers, my Atlanta Falcons with Cordell Patterson missing the entire second half, and the Patriots, which I know Stevenson's a great running back, but their starting running back went down early in that game, Damian Harris, 486 yards and 6 touchdowns. They can't stop the run. If I had to, just plug a Ravens running back, I'd do it in a heartbeat. Doesn't matter who it is, because they're so bad against the run. But I do want to say for DK, 4,000 for Gus Edwards. The coordinator for the Ravens talked about how he's excited to get Edwards back and get him involved in this offense. They are desperate to find somebody that can run other than Lamar Jackson. He could be a real boom play at 4,000. He's going to be low owned this week. Next week he'll be really high owned.
Yeah, I'll go with
go on.
No, I was going to say I'll go to the hotline bling with Kenyon Drake. I think he's got a good chance of 15 plus touches. So.
I was just going to say my one fear with this is a name to note as well is Justice Hill. He didn't do anything special, but he was on the field in weeks 3 and 4. I think at that time Kenyon Drake was inactive those weeks as well. So he's my fear is that it's going to be split between the three, and it's going to be tough to pick which one. But Drake looked good last week. He looked much better than he's looked previous week. So
100 yards on like 8 touches.
Yeah. If there's one thing, Jorge, real quick from the defensive side, this could be, and I don't know this 100% yet, how involved Deion Jones comes over and solidifies the middle of that Cleveland Browns linebacking core.
Oh, we're at New York and Jacksonville still.
No, but the question about Kenyon Drake.
He said, yeah.
Oh, sorry about that. Sorry.
So Kenyon Drake plays against Cleveland. And we're talking about the amount of rushing yards that Kenyon Drake has had against the opposing team, or Cleveland's given up to opposing running backs. Deion Jones was, 11th last year in run play stops. He was top 15 in run play tackles. He's also, coincidentally, I believe he was top 5, in run play missed tackles. So the old juggle effect, what will the effect be? Because Cleveland has had no linebacking help whatsoever this year. So I don't think it starts this week, but maybe next week we can circle back and say, all right.
Oh, he's going to be great because we didn't get anything really for him when we traded him. I can promise you that, Nate. That's the law of the Falcons.
The law of the Falcons. Gotcha. So somewhere around 28 tackles, 3 assisted tackles, something like that.
4 pick sixes.
Did you not?
Fumble return for a touchdown?
That was a 28-3.
Oh, I got it, buddy. I got it. Thank you.
Oh Lord. Okay, breaking up this love fest here. Ryan H. Good morning. Good morning to you. Which wide receiver should I start? Standard league between Ayuk and Curtis Samuel. I can also pick up Claypool, Myers, and Pierce. Run! Pick up Allen Pierce. Get him now. Get him into your lineup now.
I don't know.
Jacoby's not a bad option either, right?
Mm-mm.
I'm not sold on the Pierce hype yet. I know he's had a couple of decent weeks, but I think it's flash in the pan vibes right now.
So who would you pick then?
I'd go Ayuk. Not even close. I mean, those 2 touchdowns he scored last week, they were not flukes. They were,
They're against the Falcons, so it kind of is a fluke.
Yeah, but I mean, you look at the way he got past those defenders. That was speed. That was amazing cuts. I don't know, man. I can see Ayuk slowly transitioning to being the number 1 over Debo by the end of the year. Debo's not having as good of a year as we thought.
Falcons gave up a touchdown to Allen Robinson. That's how bad we are to number 2 receivers.
Number 2.
For me here, I kind of lean Ayuk here as well, but kind of because of the matchup. I mean, they're playing the Chiefs, so you would think that would be a higher scoring game. I do like Pierce. He's probably my number 2 here, but I would probably still go Ayuk. I mean, to me, it's going to be really interesting to see. I'm sure we'll talk about San Francisco, but how that offense actually functions. I mean, I just really want to see them come up with some really weird shit with CMC and Debo and Ayuk and placing them all over the field like that. I'm really excited just to watch what Shanahan can kind of come up with those 3. But my fear kind of longer term is how much of that offense is predicated around Debo and CMC rather than the sort of secondary options like Ayuk.
That's the first time I've ever heard you curse, Jonathan. I am.
Oh, I'm British. I can do it a lot more if you want. You can say something a lot more.
I just want to hear one bloody before the podcast.
I can say bloody hell if you want.
There we go. Nice.
Yes. Get the bell.
All right, go for Jacksonville side of the ball. I think everybody's pro Etienne over Robinson, Christian Kirk this week. Evan Ingram, you had mentioned Keith earlier as he's gotten 4 targets in the past few games. Been consistent with that all season. For
Joe has
defensive,
made a point that linebackers are terrible for the Giants too. So both for him and then also, as you were saying, ETN, who Joe's worried that ETN is going to have at least one run of 40 yards or more today.
Speaking of linebackers, Nate, for the Giants, he hit it right on the head. They are terrible, but are any of them IDP worthy starts?
No.
Yeah. Okay.
No. God. Run as fast as you can.
Is there only Giant IDP player that you're confident in, Julian Love, at this point?
Probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
No Thibodeau?
I don't love Thibodeau. I like Thibodeau. I like Thibodeau. I don't love Thibodeau. I like, certain weeks. There's players like, Dexter Lawrence has had a big week here and there. Yay. I'm not going to start him with routine basis. Tay Crowder's just a bad linebacker, but he got snaps. Now they're incorporating more safeties into the play. They're trying to get better just overall tacklers on the field. And that usually means rotation and less consistent snaps. I don't like it. So, yeah.
Another question from Ryan. Which two running backs to start? Again, standard: Jamal Williams, Brian Robinson, Pacheco, Stevenson, Edwards. For me, it is Stevenson and you know what? I'm going to go Robinson. I'm going to be a homer.
The Pacheco hype. I think we should start a new segment: Pacheco or Pacheco. So Pacheco or Ezekiel Elliott.
Oh, it's Ezekiel. It's Ezekiel.
You on Zeke?
I think Zeke is my start of the week this week. I think he's going to ball out.
Lions 31st versus the run. They're dead last DVOA. I think both Pollard and Elliott are in for a pretty good day.
Okay,
there you go.
Pacheco or Christian McCaffrey just this week.
I can't not.
Can you say neither?
Yeah, which one? Pacheco or Christian McCaffrey this week?
Give me Pacheco this week. All Pacheco right. For me.
Pacheco or Damian Harris?
Pacheco.
Yeah.
Pacheco or Breece Hall?
Oh, come on.
Breece Hall.
Stop.
Okay. All right.
It's like saying air or no air. Air.
It's like saying Marcus Mariota or Patrick Mahomes.
Don't answer
Mariota, obviously. We're all picking Mariota. So.
Let's go to our next game. We talked about it a little bit here with Deion Jones earlier. Cleveland and Baltimore. Isaiah Likely, if he's on your waiver wire and you are the Mark Andrews manager, you may want to see if you can clear a spot for him because we still don't know whether or not he is going to be playing today. He is questionable.
I think
what is the injury, Jorge?
I saw a report
that
he was playing.
You saw a report that he is going to be playing this week. Okay.
I read that about 30 minutes ago or so. Yeah.
Okay. Well, in that case, one less thing to worry about. For Baltimore, outside of Lamar Jackson and Mark Andrews, are we rolling the dice on Duvernay? Are we rolling the dice on Drake? That's affirmative here. Keith?
Give me the backs, yeah.
Okay. But not Duvernay per se, as somebody that you would start in your flex.
If Bateman was down, I might be willing to give him a start because Brown's defense hadn't been great against the pass either. But I would need Bateman to be out to consider Duvernay, in my opinion.
Okay. Well, let's go to Cleveland. Obviously, Chubb and Hunt. Well, obviously, Chubb. You're starting with Chubb. Are you starting Kareem Hunt, Jonathan, this week?
I mean, it's one of those where just because of bye weeks and whatever, I might have to. He's not someone that I'm too excited about. I mean, in PPR leagues, then he always comes with a safe floor, but he's kind of a high end RB3 ish for me. Yeah.
So here's the one crazy thing with Kareem Hunt. Vegas has his reception prop set at 2.5, and the under is -189, meaning Vegas is leaning heavy that he has under 2.5 receptions. And I think with Kareem Hunt, don't we all equate fantasy upside value with receptions and garbage time kind of usage.
Well, it's red zone touches too, because he actually does get a lot of red zone touches, even when the game's, just normal gameplay. But yeah, other than that, yes.
I mean, last
Hunt
week was a bit
Pacheco or Pacheco with Kareem Hunt.
I love it.
Go on. Here we go.
Give me Pacheco.
Okay, all right.
Lord.
This is freaking great.
For IDP for this game, Nate, you mentioned Deion Jones. Are you comfortable rolling him out as your LB2 or LB3 this week, or not until you see that?
No. But I mean, the talk that he's wearing the green dot is a good sign that he's
Not to sound stupid, but what is the green dot? I don't know.
Green dot is the play caller for defense. They get the headset. So when they have that on, that there's a better than a zero chance that they are on the field for the majority of the snaps because they don't like to share that duty if they don't have to. And so
let me ask you this. What do they mean when on the field when they say like 54 is the mic?
The middle linebacker.
Yep. So they'll establish sometimes they have defensive fronts that are supposed to be camouflaged and you're not supposed to know who has the mic responsibility. And so sometimes like with Mahomes or whoever points it out, that tells defensive alignment and that can give mismatch opportunities, as well as I think that's for offensive line scheming too.
So can the mic change? So is there multiple people on defense who have a microphone?
No. Mic stands for middle linebacker.
Oh, I didn't know. Okay, sorry.
Nope.
I didn't know that.
Mike, Will, Sam, those are like the nicknames essentially for the weak side linebacker, the strong side linebacker, and the middle linebacker.
So when they point out a number, are they saying that person's going to blitz?
So like think of it like this. Let's say you have three guys in front of you. One's to your left, one's to your middle, one's to your right. Okay. Normally I would look at the person in front of me and see the guy in the middle and like, well, that's my middle linebacker. Now the question is, what happens if a cornerback drops down? What happens if a safety drops down? Now I have five people here. Which one is the middle one? Which one is not? Now because they're so spaced together, there's now like a weird, funky looking formation of defenders right in front of me. Who am I identifying is going to be that middle player coming at me? That's what the quarterback has to do. That's what the center, that's what they communicate with each other, where they're trying to figure out, okay, where is the center of this defense coming at me going to come from? And once they identify that player, they identify that player as the mic.
Okay, so that's where the main defensive charge is going to come from, that middle person. Is that right?
I mean, I wouldn't know about the main defensive charge, but that's the person who's going to be that's where the center of the I don't want to say center of the pressure. That's the center of the defensive alignment. That's the best way I can describe it.
Football's a funny game, isn't it?
It's just love it.
American football, we call that here, Dave. It's
What's that?
Pacheco or Pacheco?
Moving on to the Jets and the Broncos. Man, Breece Hall, yeah, he's good. It's awesome.
Not a great matchup.
Not a good matchup against Denver. You know, Josie Jewell, I don't know if he is coming back yet. If he's clear to go this week, he was questionable heading into. Josie Jewell, of course, is one of the linebackers for the Denver Broncos. Alex Singleton has been filling in his place and did so quite well last week with 21 tackles. If Jewell is back, I feel comfortable starting Jewell just because he's been so good this season when he's been playing, although there is always injury issues with him, so you have to be careful of that. Justin Simmons on the defensive side of the ball for the Denver Broncos, free safety. On the flip side, Quinnen Williams, defensive tackle or an integrated defensive lineman for the Jets, has been playing lights out for IDP. Start him, CJ Mosley, Quincy Williams at linebacker. Did I cover all the IDPs there? Am I missing somebody? Baron Browning, defensive end at rusher, outside linebacker for the Broncos, maybe?
Yeah, for the most part. I think you've pretty much hit on everybody. Jordan Whitehead. For the Jets. I like Whitehead.
On the offensive side, I said Breece Hall. Is there anybody else that you're starting with confidence for the Jets, Keith, this week?
For DK, I'm literally just starting the defenses, and that's it. Like, I really do. The defenses are my two favorite defenses this week. Broncos are 3,300. Jets are 2,600. I think one of those two will be a top 3 defense.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think this is going to be a really low-scoring game. I mean, the Jets. Keith, I think you mentioned it before about the amount of work that Zach Wilson actually needed to do last week against the Packers. He barely needed to throw the ball. I think he threw it for like 150 yards or something. It was basically all Breece Hall and a little bit of Michael
They're looking
Carter.
at what the Giants are doing across the street, and they're like, we'll do the same.
Yeah. Yeah.
Man,
I think, sorry, I was going to say, I think they will try and do something similar today. Probably not quite to the same effect, but the Broncos are second last in fantasy points allowed to wide receivers. So I think they're going to try and funnel it through the run, but yeah. So I'm not keen on Garrett Wilson.
Anybody got information on Rippon? Like anything about? Like, I don't really know much about him.
He is the son of Mark Rippon, former Washington quarterback.
I mean, do you think he's going to be good? Does he have a chance to be good, or do you think?
I don't. You asked for information. That's all the information.
That's fair.
I have.
Touche.
I'm
trying to think of a Rippon pun. I can't think of anything. It's not coming to mind.
Yeah, he's no pun, but I don't believe there will be an Art Monk on the in the Denver receiving core.
Yeah, no.
What about a Riggins?
They will be quiet as a monk, maybe.
Are we expecting Wilson? So Wilson's got a week 9 bye, I think, right? Week 8 or week 9? Which one?
He hasn't been on a bye the whole year.
They're in London next week.
I just dropped him in a league for Aaron Rodgers, and it's crazy thinking to say that, but yeah, that was tough dropping Russell Wilson. He's not a person that you typically drop, but I don't know, man. Like, I think this team has just crushed his his potential future.
I think this coach is crushed. This coach is a one and done.
Yeah,
he better
absolutely.
Be. What a mess.
Let's go to Houston and Vegas. We got a question here that ties into that. Johnny T80, welcome back. Carr or Tua? Carr is actually one of my plays of the week at quarterback. A big fan of him this week. No Jonathan Grenard rushing the passer this week. Tua, his right tackle, a.k.a. the guy who's protecting his blind spot, is giving up the most pressures, or the third most pressures, the most pressures of any tackle here in the NFL. Not exactly what you want to see or hear from a person who's coming back from a concussion, a severe concussion injury. I guess they're all severe, right?
Just don't want him to get hit again, man. Like, I really am like worried for his health.
That's why I'm hoping they put like another tight end or something over there to help protect him against this pass rush for the Steelers, because it has the potential to get really scary in this game.
Dude, seeing that hit on Tua cemented my thought that I'm not letting my boy play football. I'll let him watch it. We'll watch other people, get hit and get concussions.
Crazy, man.
That's about it. But yeah, watching that hit, I'm like, no way. That's that's the kind of stuff that that can shorten your life. I mean, how often do we see in the preseason some 35, 45-year-old ex-NFL player like randomly passes away?
Yeah.
Cause unknown. I'm like, are you serious? Cause unknown. You tell me like 5 to 10 people just randomly pass away, and happen to let's be honest, we're playing sport with a helmet. What other than motorcycles and car racing, what other sports play with a helmet?
Boxers beat the hell out of each other. They don't wear helmets.
Exactly. There you go.
So Ken is reminding us here that Mark Rippon's daughter actually did play, I want to say, like Division III college ball for a bit. So that is a good reference. And he is correcting me and saying that Brett is actually the nephew of Mark, not the son. So thank you, Ken, for the fun facts.
So he doesn't have quite the athletic genes that we thought he did. It's athletic genes adjacent.
Exactly. Which is great for this matchup.
It isn't what's his name? Manning. Not
Cooper?
Cooper's son though.
Yeah.
Who's the number one prospect in the entire
But he's a loser because he picked Texas over Georgia. So he's proven he's obviously a loser.
You're not bitter there, are you, Keith?
I'm bitter for sure. I got like invested in a guy. I hated Peyton Manning being a Tennessee quarterback, and then I'm like, we're gonna get the Manning. And then when we went to Texas, I'm like, I knew I hated the Mannings for a reason.
Yeah, well, sticking with the Raiders and the Texans, Josh Jacobs has been running his like crazy. Josh Jacobs he's talking to Devontae Adams the past couple weeks, and now Josh Jacobs, whenever he sees a linebacker, is going to see a cameraman, and he's basically going to run through.
It's like
all
Waterboy. Visualize
and
attack. Visualize and attack.
Except it's going to be more like the towel boy from Michigan, who they bring on the field. He gets completely wrecked, like in that movie. If you haven't seen the Waterboy, folks, you have to go watch that movie. A lot of great references. So Devontae, Josh Jacobs, Derek Carr, Hunter Renfrow coming back with no Darren Waller. I think is a good play there for Houston. I mean, they have Dameon Pierce, but it is just the Dameon Pierce show. I wish Brandon Cooks was more of a presence in this offense, but whatever hype we were having for Davis Mills heading into the season, it just hasn't been materializing.
He's due for that random game though, like he had last year, because it didn't even have rhyme or reason. Like it was against good defenses. He would just throw for like 303 touchdowns.
Yeah, no, it's kind of baffling what's going on there. On the
defense in Houston, I mean, they're not trash. I mean, like Nico Collins
they've been in every game too, just about.
Yeah.
The Raiders are also giving up the most points to QBs, so this could be the random week that Keith is talking about.
So and tight ends also. Yeah, we putting our neck on the line for Davis Mills this week.
Wow, making fun of his physiological features there, Nate. Come on.
Who's making fun of what? Just because you're making an assumption on that?
Yeah, Jorge. Yes. Be a better person.
Unfair. Right? Just because I use a very, very common phrase. You put the two together?
How dare I do that? You're right.
Get out of the gutter.
Very poor taste.
Josh Jacobs, though, is my favorite play for DraftKings of anybody at 6,500. I mean, it's really outrageous. The Texans are dead last in scoring, whether it's standard leagues, DraftKings. I mean, literally across every format, they're 32nd in points allowed. They've allowed 3 running backs to score 32 points or more on DraftKings in just 5 games. And Jacobs has had back-to-back 25-plus touch games, gone for over 400 yards. And the big thing to me is he looks like the back that he was a couple of years ago. Last year, I guess he was just banged up because he looked like he was almost like done. And now, man, you see him going in and out of the hole. It's crazy. And it shows that he's first in juke rate, second in yards created, 8th in dominator rating, which last year he was in like the 20s in all these categories. So I know he's going to be high on, but man, Josh Jacobs should be in basically every one of your DraftKings lineups.
Nice. For defense for the Texans, Nate, anybody? Jalen Petrie, maybe? No, not even.
No, I do Petrie for sure, especially against in a situation like this where we think it could be pretty run heavy. That just makes sense. I think that this is an opportunity for him. The linebacking core is intriguing because not a good intrigue, a bad intrigue in that between KGH, Kirksey, Christian Harris is back. I don't know if they'll get him involved at all. I could see a situation starting both of the linebackers in certain leagues. Obviously, depth has an impact of your league, but yeah, defensive end. That's my question for you. What do you do with? So Jonathan Grenard is on the IR. Jerry Hughes has been decent. The Raiders haven't exactly always had this wonderful offensive line, and is that even? That's a long shot play. I'm guessing.
What, you have no faith in Rasheem Green? You don't think he's gonna?
I'm not saying that. Again, you're putting these words into my mouth, Jorge.
I'm not having a lot of faith this week with the edge rushers for the Texans. On the flip side, Max Crosby obviously is a must start. I think Divine Diablo is a must start. In a pinch as your LB3, Blake Martinez.
I know. I don't know. I have.
Okay. That should be a sign that don't do it. Not yet.
Can't. I think show me the first time. If you've been holding out hope for 6.5 weeks, 7 weeks,
wait one more
for Blake Martinez to be your savior. Yeah, you probably are okay waiting one more.
Yeah. Let's go to Los Angeles. We got the Seahawks facing the Chargers. Man, wow, this is 15 and a half points here. Crazy. I think it's the largest thing of the week here. Keith, let's go with you. Seahawks. Who are you feeling comfortable this week?
Oh, Walker is, man, like if you are in bigger entries, he should be in every one of them. The Chargers give up the most rushes of 10 yards or more of any defense in the NFL. Kenneth Walker is averaging a run of 10 yards or more on 11% of his runs. He will hit a run of 20 yards or more for sure. I think he's going to hit at least a 20, 30-yard touchdown run. And then if he can do something else and they can keep the game close, he could have like a huge game. But, man, I love Kenneth Walker today. I like Lockett, but the injury scares me. So I kind of probably stay away because of that. And then other than that, man, load up on Chargers. I think the Chargers are going to throw all over this team. I really actually like the Herbert Eckler stack today, which is Eckler's the only running back that you can stack with a quarterback and feel comfortable because he basically is the number one receiver.
Well, that's what I was going to ask you, though, is when we say load up on Chargers, I can't name more than 3 that I would even want to well,
I'm sorry. When I say load up, I mean I would go with like a Herbert, Eckler, Cook stack. I mean, what's the tight end? Why am I breaking his name? Everett, thank you.
Okay.
Everett stack.
Everett, I think, is slightly more interesting today as well because Donald Parham is out, and he kind of saw his usage go down a little bit when Parham came back. Yep. So I think Everett is.
Joe is really high on Everett. He was his, I think, median tier tight end this week.
All right, on the defensive side of the ball here, for the Seahawks, Jordan Brooks, Cody Barton, is he just like Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, somebody that we should be fading for IDP starting or no?
Yeah. I don't like the clumping of him and JOK together, unfortunately, but it is what it is because I was pretty high on both of them. JOK, I don't know. I think he's just out of position, personally. I'm not talking about Cleveland anymore. We'll pivot from there. But yeah, Cody Barton, just unfortunately, it's one of those times. And guys, for IDP, this is a unique aspect of the game, is sometimes talent doesn't necessitate snaps and value. Sometimes lack of talent is better, and they're actually just, oh shit, got to clean this up. Like if you get a point for every time you had to clean up milk and you got shaky hands, well, you're probably going to score more points because you're probably going to be dropping it. Cody Barton makes me think of.
Can we clip that?
That was great. That really was.
You ever seen
that? And the Pacheco and Pacheco needs to be on the highlights for this episode.
It's Blazing Saddles when he's like, look. He's like right there. He's like, that's pretty steady. He goes, shoot with this hand. That's Cody Barton. Cody Barton has the, you want to see him tackle with this hand, but he doesn't.
He's got together.
And so he's off that's why he's getting off the field. You should see the clips. It's bad. It's worse than that one.
I love it.
Any Blazing Saddles reference is amazing.
Which is, you were talking about Waterboy. That's another movie that probably even less people have seen. Unbelievable movie, man.
Yeah.
Do you guys see at the expo there was a dude with a Bobby Boucher jersey?
Yes.
No.
Yeah.
Awesome.
That was awesome.
That is great. Have
Mama
you seen the guy?
Mama said.
Keith, you might have seen this. There's a person who's he has a company where he makes personalized like playing card or trading cards.
Right.
But
I actually got a Big Lebowski one, I think, from this guy.
Oh, really? Yeah. I've seen some of he has them, and he'll take the jerseys and like he'll do the Chevy Chase, Clark Griswold one.
So cool.
And he'll make them, and he does it for like people. I'm contemplating doing. I saw one. It was a 3-player patch. It was like player A, B, and then the middle was him and his wife, and they took a patch like a jersey and cut it and put it in the card, and so it's a unique looking, just really cool card. It looks real as can
I know
be.
exactly what you're talking. He's a different guy because I did have a guy make me literally a Big Lebowski card. It's amazing. It's like,
and I've seen a Big Lebowski one. Yeah.
But the guy you're talking about with the patches and stuff is so cool because he'll take a card and then you can basically put a jersey. You can do take a piece of a hat or like basically anything you want. and he does really good work. Like me and my wife were talking about trying to order something cool.
Yeah, they're pretty. I don't know where I was going with that, but other than Bobby Boucher, that would be a cool card to have made if you want to if you were a big fan to add to your collection, or Jorge, if you wanted, one for you and Melissa, you could put a picture of you two with a jersey cut from like Penn State when Penn State beats Maryland, like they would do.
I hear Bobby Boucher and I immediately think, no, Colonel Sanders, you're wrong. Mama's right.
Exactly.
Wasn't LT in Lawrence Taylor was in the movie?
Yeah, the one line. This brings me to my next point. Don't
do crack. Exactly.
Whoever had to confront Lawrence Taylor to have him say that is the ballsiest man in the world.
Yeah.
I bet he thought it was funny.
Mr. Taylor, here's your script.
Is this a joke? It is a joke, but let's finish up with the Chargers defense. Drew Tranquill.
Yep.
Nasir Adderley, yay, nay?
Oh, shut up. No. Get out of here. I hate but because I was wrong. No, it's what it is.
No, I'm seriously asking.
Seriously, it's a fair question because Adderley was, next to Derwin James, a viable option deep. And the thing is then like in week 3, I guess it was, he was benched in favor of Alohi Gilman. Maybe week 4, Gilman gets a game-sealing interception in the end zone. Huge play, gets the game ball, gets hyped up beyond belief by Brandon Staley. And then the next game out, Nasir Adderley gets the majority of the snaps again. So it's very confusing. So I don't want anything to do with that. I'll take Derwin all day long. I'll take Drew Tranquill and the edge rushers in LA.
Okay, let's go to Kansas City, going to the Bay, aka Santa Clara. Like we've been talking about all morning, and the news broke this morning. Isaiah Pacheco should be starting with the ones this week, which should be a difficult matchup for San Francisco. Keith, or let's go, Jonathan. Jonathan, under what circumstance only would you be starting Isaiah Pacheco as a flex for you this week?
To me, he's going to be like a. As you said, it's not the greatest matchup. He's someone that I want on my, I want to pick up immediately. If I can bench him, I probably would try to, just because I don't think it's the greatest matchup. He's going to kind of be like a low end 2 for me. Like I would much
this
rather
week or overall.
Oh, sorry, this week. I think I'd much rather play someone like Tony Pollard over him.
All right, here I have a start set for you guys then.
Start or Pacheco or Pacheco? No.
It could be. It will incorporate that because he is available. I theoretically have a league that's is not the deepest of leagues, so he is available on the wire. I just picked up Gus Edwards for the second half push, but James Robinson this week or Pacheco.
Pacheco.
I hate that.
What about this? Okay, Pacheco or Pacheco?
Pacheco then.
Okay, Pacheco or Aaron Jones?
Oh, Aaron Jones.
Aaron Jones.
Really? I'd go Pacheco.
Against the Niners over Jones versus the Washington Commanders?
Pacheco or Jamal Williams?
Pacheco.
Close, though.
Yeah, it's close.
Nate, how much?
I'm taking Jamal Williams.
Nate, how do you see that split between Pacheco and CEH? Because obviously, it kind of up until now, it's been more kind of CEH and McKinnon.
Yeah.
And so, how do you kind of see that going forward from a Casey? Obviously, you're the resident.
I mean, the thing is with it, what I've seen is the valuable touches have still went to CEH, and like in between the 20s, I don't care about those touches. That's the thing is I know we have to, but I really don't. And I think that's where Pacheco is going to see the volume in those less than the lowest scoring per touch metric, the in between the 20s. Will he be involved in the receiving game? Yeah. That's the hardest thing about KC though, is this is a different offense than I've seen over the past 3 years, and that it's a 3 to 4 read pass game that then sets up the run. And Pacheco is definitely more explosive. So, I mean, I give him a 60% running back touch, maybe 55%. But I think he still finishes. I think he's an RB3 this week, maybe 4 against San Fran.
KC have always done well when they have a true 3-down back. I mean, even going back as far as the Jamal Charles days, right?
Oh,
Jamal Charles, Kareem Hunt, before he decided to try out for kicker. Then you even had Darren Williams. I mean, believe it or not, like that when they made the run.
Or Darrell Williams, right?
I'm sorry,
Damian Williams.
My apologies, Damian Williams. That
he wasn't
run
here for my Vegas story of me losing a bunch of money on that.
That's
so
right.
2018, where they played the Patriots, he was a great 3-down running back. They need that. KC are not a run by committee team, so I think they're looking for Pacheco to be at least a 2-down back with maybe McKinnon coming in on third.
Interestingly, JJ Zachariason at Late Round QB on Twitter, his off-season comparison for Pacheco was actually Damian Williams, and so that's why he was really excited about him going into rookie drafts, saying that this is the kind of back that they like.
Why are they not trying McKinnon? McKinnon was really successful last year.
He was good, yeah.
Like, why are they not with the issues?
I just don't know. I don't disagree with, I mean, maybe not the shininess on the balls kind of dulled a little bit, and they want. I think that honestly, Andy Reid will just go with the hot hand in any given specific week, which I hate. It's the worst thing you could ask for.
Especially this year, because you don't have the offense that you have in the past where you can just at any moment go 80 yards in 2 plays, right? Like it's a lot more of a beat. You're marching to the drum. And to me, you need a running back and stability there more than ever in that kind of offense.
I know. And that's what's also dangerous is that not having that exact play means that they're running a 15 to 20% more plays, which means more opportunity for the running back. So you're seeing more involvement and you're getting this taste. You're getting more of an appetizer and going, oh man, look at that usage. He's getting, right. And then he doesn't, then the next week is someone different. I prefer it when the Chiefs score on 2 plays and 80 yards, but Tyreek's gone, and it is what it is. But
I was at the Chiefs game last week, and there was a bunch of
Yeah, we know.
There was a bunch of that was an awful. I was actually right in front of that play, that pick Mahomes had. I mean, you could see double coverage. I don't know how he couldn't, but anyway, there was a bunch of protesters out the front protesting to get rid of the 2 things: the Chiefs name and the tomahawk chop.
Correct.
At the start. And I thought about it. I'm like, you know what? It's not really fair if Washington Redskins have to change their name to the Commanders. It's kind of the same thing, right? I mean, if they're going to do it, you got to do it unanimously.
The Braves tried to do away with theirs, and they stopped playing it stuff. The fans just kept doing the chant without even, the drum or anything. And so now they brought it back.
Yeah. And I will say, and Jorge, maybe you can attest this. I think that the term Redskin was more of a derogatory term directly impacting everybody, every indigenous tribe felt that is like a slur. Whereas I don't think they see Chief nearly as bad. I get it, but yeah, it is what it is. If they end up changing it, I'll move on. I think that we as a society, I mean, clearly have our priorities indifferent when that is a huge focus. But whatever.
It is interesting the things that we choose to battle for and things things that we just let go.
Those people had to walk past probably 100 homeless people that unfortunately have no home to get there to go, quit doing the chop. Excuse me, veteran, out of the way, homeless. Yep. Excuse me. You lost a leg. Excuse me. Oh, you don't have 2 arms. You can't do the chop. It's ridiculous.
You got frostbite last night because you don't have a home. Well, that's okay. Yeah. Get out of my way.
Exactly.
This is my spot to protest, not yours to sleep.
That's right. Yeah, exactly. Let's get our priorities a little bit more straight here.
Jorge, answer this one. You've let us talk a lot. Jamal Williams or Zeke in half point PPR? Dave, we know your answer already.
Zeke, more Zeke. This is Zeke's going off game. He finishes as a top 5 running back this week. It's going to be Ezekiel Elliott, without a doubt. Johnny T 80. Let's keep going. Let's go to now let's round up here. Greenlaw, Warner, Bosa, Hufanga if he's playing for IDP. Kansas City, Nate, who are you rolling with besides Bolton?
Probably nobody really necessarily. So Willie Gay's back. Willie Gay's back. I'm not starting him, but pay attention to his usage in this game. If Darius Harris is still played a lot, then avoid. If Willie Gay's thrown right back into the situation, that's where they know they utilize him in the coverage game, and that's one of the areas that they need the most help on. So or help at. Okay. So yeah, but nothing else.
Let's go to Sunday Night Football, Pittsburgh, Miami. For me, the only player that I feel comfortable starting for Pittsburgh is George Pickens. Najee Harris, the Dolphins have actually been surprisingly really good against the run. And they have, whether it's the linebackers, whether it's Brandon Jones being called up to the line of scrimmage to blitz to go after making plays in the backfield. Najee in this running game just has been awful. The offensive line for Pittsburgh has been awful. So he's actually one of my sits of the week.
Najee Harris, Pacheco or Pacheco? No.
Pacheco, no. Pacheco, hell no, is where I was going to go.
I would take Pacheco over Najee Harris.
That's what he's saying, right?
Oh, gotcha.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying Najee Harris is the Pacheco no.
Gotcha. Okay, gotcha.
Sorry, I got confused there. On the flip side, for Miami, start Waddle, start Hill. I'm actually very excited for Jalen Waddle.
How good is Waddle? Can we talk about it for just a second? I mean, no matter who the quarterback is, he's already had 350-yard games. And again, I know the Chiefs are 4-2, but you can see the difference in that offense without him. I mean, it's pretty substantial.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Steelers allowing the most points to fantasy points to wide receivers as well. So yeah, I'm really excited.
So he's probably the captain then, right? If you're going to do a captain's lineup on DK, would be T. Hill.
Yeah. Waddle and Hill are both in the top 5 receiving leaders right now, aren't they? I think they are.
Waddle hadn't really done anything for 2 weeks because he had so much the first 2 or 3 weeks. He had 400 yards.
Nate, what were you going to say?
I was going to say a couple official active inactive lists. Baltimore has declared Mark Andrews, Rashad Bateman, Gus Edwards active. For Atlanta, AJ Terrell is active. Sammy Watkins is active in Green Bay. Jonathan, raise the flag. Exactly. And then officially inactive so far, DeAndre Swift is expected, Jahan Dotson, and at left tackle, David Bakhtiari.
Who's going to be Washington's receiver in that spot, Jorge? Because what's his name? Is it Sims?
Cam Sims.
Just a quick.
Go ahead, John.
I was just going to say a very quick point on the Packers offensive line, because I think that has been one of the biggest issues as to why the Packers have been so bad this year. Obviously, Bakhtiari has come back. The big issue has been on the right side of the line. The guy that they've been playing at guard has been playing at tackle, also been coming back from an ACL, hasn't been playing as well. That's Elton Jenkins, who has been kind of Pro Bowl level. The issue that they've had is at right guard with Royce Newman. The thought was that they were going to take Jenkins back to guard, play the guy that they were playing at left tackle at right tackle, and hopefully that was going to secure it. Now with Bakhtiari out, I'm still a little bit worried about this offensive line, but kind of going forward into
I was just say Washington for a DK defense then maybe could they get, because I saw they've had some sacks the last few weeks. So their defense has been scoring.
I could see a situation where Montez Sweat, who should be lined up against David Bakhtiari, and without Bakhtiari, if that means they move, I think Nijman is
Nyman, who has Nyman, is that how you say it? He's been solid at left tackle. The issue is the other areas of the line, because the thought was, at least among sort of Packers fans, that Nyman was then going to play at right tackle,
and that's where he's
left, and then move Jenkins inside.
I think they're 2,400 on DraftKings.
I think it'll be a low-scoring game as well. Like I'm happy to play Lazard, but I mean we've seen the issues that the Packers have had. The offensive line has been a big issue there this year that they haven't had that issue in the last couple of years. So yeah.
Do you think Rodgers looks like he's checked out? I mean, I'm not a body language expert. To me, he looks like he's checked out.
It looks as though he just doesn't trust people, and that's a big issue, that he's not taking shots that he previously did. He's playing that kind of hero ball where, I mean, I think I mentioned this last week or the week before, where the Giants, the game that I went to, the Giants had scored a touchdown and had taken something like 7-8 minutes off the clock, had kind of gone down the field, had scored a touchdown, and then the Packers went 3 and out on like 3 deep shots that he was never going to make, and the Giants immediately get the ball back, and it's been that for the last few weeks. It's really frustrating. My hope is that they go and trade for someone and get someone else in there, because Romeo. I'd love DJ Moore. I'd love Chase Claypool. I'd love Elijah Moore, but yeah, let's see. Anyway, sorry, I digress.
Yeah, that's cool. For IDP, for Pittsburgh, Nate, Miles Jack had been dealing with an injury this week, but I think he should be good to go.
Yep.
Somebody that we don't talk about enough, I think, as a community as a whole, but he has been pretty consistent for Pittsburgh. Minka Fitzpatrick is back. Alex Highsmith, especially if they move him over to Greg Little's side, could have a pretty big impact this week. Oh, yeah. For Miami, I think Brandon Jones has a good shot of getting into the backfield and disrupting that passing game and running game. Anybody else for the Dolphins, really?
Can I get a bleep? Are you able to bleep out anything that I say?
No, but I'm pretty sure my mom's not watching, so we're good. If you want to just say the word, it's fine.
Fuck Jerome Baker.
Fuck Jerome Baker, exactly.
And the Saints.
Yeah.
We weren't even talking about the Saints. The Saints have already played. All right, whatever. Let's finish up with Monday Night Football. Start with defense first. Somebody who I'm actually writing the IDP for the afternoon game, the start and sits. Jaquan Brisker, this rookie has been playing lights out. The running game for Chicago should be, for New England should be going full steam, and I just think that's great signs for Jaquan Brisker this week. For the Bears, Roquan Smith, obviously you're starting. Is Nicholas Morrow? I haven't really been paying attention too much to Nicholas Morrow this year. Is he somebody that people should be feeling good about? LB2, LB3 level confidence?
I mean, LB3. He's had weeks where he's been what I expected, which was to be utilized in that Eberflus defense, that the weak side backer is viable and very, very utilized. And I haven't seen that yet as much this year. The thing is with him, like, I'll probably pull up his stats right now and I'll see that he's more likely better than I had expected. So, I mean, not much better, but I mean, the solo to assist ratio is not great. That's a Roquan Smith problem, if anything, because it's a 29-17 solo to assist. 2 tackles for a loss, but nothing else. So he's averaging 6.5 points per game. And it's just, that's not enough to sustain. If he was your LB4 in a super, super deep league, you're comfortable with that just because they're on the field enough. But
right.
Yeah, not my favorite, unfortunately. That was kind of a miss on my behalf.
I remember I picked him up in a very deep best ball draft in the summer. Literally, it was like the day that the Roquan Smith trade rumors were coming out, and I was like, right, and it literally came up as I was drafting, and I was like, right, I'm taking him. And he has started for me, a couple of times. He's had some,
he's top. The crazy thing is he's top 20 in solo tackles still, despite that ratio being so wonky. He has more solo tackles than names like Bobby Wagner, Fred Warner, Eric Kendricks, Frankie Louvu, Levante David, Logan Wilson. I mean, Jerome Baker, and a few other names. And so it's like, again, I just wish there was a few extra little added splash plays to really inflate that, because on a per game basis, Fantasy Pro scoring, he's like LB, 60. So just tough, Jorge.
Yep. On New England side of the ball, I mean, Matt Judon, Dietrich Wise this week. Nate, you brought him up several times during the week. Is having a really good matchup here. Mm-hmm. Kyle Duggar. Am I missing anybody here?
I don't, man. The safeties are weird to me there. There's big plays each time between Duggar and Adrian Phillips each week. And that's what's helped support a floor. But nothing else really that I can think of.
Okay.
Judon, did you mention Judon?
Judon, yep.
I was going to say, I can't see you going an episode without saying Judon's name. And
Judon. Yeah, absolutely. Love Matt Judon, always. For the offensive side of the ball, Ramondre Stevenson for New England, Jacoby Myers, wide receiver there. For Chicago, Keith. Right? It's a tough sledding, right?
DraftKings? Yeah, I don't want
No, well, not just DraftKings, but for fantasy in general.
No, and not only that, I'm worried they're going to either A, Fields is just not good, or B, they're going to end up ruining him just because of how many hits and pressures he's taking. It's a shame because they have talent. Like, I think Herbert's a talented back. Montgomery's a talented back. Like, Mooney is, I mean, he's not trash. Komet, I thought was going to have a good season. Boy, was that wrong about him. It's just rough, man. And I don't really know what the answer is, but I know that New England is going to roll. And if you're going to do a DK lineup, the single entry one for just one game, take the defense as your captain, load up on New England players, and maybe have like one Bear receiver or Fields or something, because Belichick is, I'm sure, licking his chops at this matchup. And Thornton, real quick, are you guys, like, he's available in some leagues. Bill Simmons obviously is a homer, but he has a lot of information. He is really big on him and thinks he is going to be a big part of their offense the second half of the season. Would you guys, pick him up and stash him, or
no?
Not
enough for me.
It would depend on the size of the league, I think, but I'm not sure how many targets has he actually been getting, because there were a couple of kind of big plays I seem to remember,
right.
But
he had a good preseason. Yeah, he had a good preseason and got hurt, and then he scored like 20 points his first game, and then to your point, had 5 targets last week. So,
no.
I do kind of on this game. I do have a disgusting flex.
All right, let's hear it.
Question. That in our staff league, and I've checked, I'm not playing any of you, so you can give your advice freely. I've got to decide between Jerry Jeudy and Darnell Mooney.
I go Mooney. I trust the targets more for Mooney. Jerry Jeudy, you just don't know what we're getting with Rippin. Yeah. Is he going to be ripping off some big plays? No, that doesn't work.
Did you see the trade rumors about Jeudy? Supposedly teams are trying to see if Jeudy is available. I would love to see him go somewhere where he could have an opportunity. I think he's an immense talent.
Full PPR, I'm going Mooney. Full PPR, I'm definitely taking Mooney.
I would too.
Yeah.
Let's finish off the show here with one start.
With New England, do you think New England are better off with Zappe or Mac Jones? I mean, you guys know my hatred for Mac Jones. So,
I mean, I think that Belichick is the kind of coach that if Jones comes back and turns the ball over like he did earlier in the year, he's going to go with Zappe. But I think Jones is the better quarterback because Zappe can't throw the ball down the field.
Yeah, his arm is limited, and he's kind of, the game plans have been good, but I mean, that as Keith was mentioning before, that they played the Browns last week, didn't they? And the Browns are they've been terrible defensively. So no, I think Mac Jones will be straight back in.
All right, let's finish off the show with a question here from Cheddarhead. Full point PPR, need to start 2. Deontay Johnson, Alec Pierce, Amari Cooper, or Damian Williams. Give me the first 2.
I'm going to say give me the middle 2. Alec Pierce and Cooper.
I'm gonna say Cooper and Damian Harris. So we are of no help to you.
Yeah, I was going to say Deontay and probably Cooper, but I'm between Cooper and Pierce for me.
And Nate for the final nail in the confusion.
Yeah, no kidding. Sorry about that. It's like, see, I want to lean against my heart because I want to take Alec Pierce because I have a lot riding on that, but I don't think that's the smartest move, especially if we get Jonathan Taylor back So I'm gonna go Deontay and Cooper.
Yeah, that's the right. I'm sorry, it is. It's a full PPR. You got 2 number 1 receivers. That's
Correct.
the answer.
Exactly, and both have a 25+ target percentage, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, somewhere
Sorry,
close.
Cheddarhead, that I tried to steer you away. Pierce might blow up, but I mean, seriously, like you got 2 number 1 receivers in a full PPR. That's what you should be doing.
Well, there you go, Cheddarhead, and that wraps us up here this week. Seriously, folks, thank you very much for tuning in. From starting at 9:40 to now, you've been giving us all sorts of questions. We've been happy answering them and going through all the different games, giving you all the fantasy input information that we've been accumulating for the past week. Head over to fantasyandframes.com. You still got an hour and 15 minutes to quickly go through our short articles, finding out players you should be starting, inserting in your lineups, taking out of your lineups. For a variety of plays, whether it's for upside plays, for start and sits, for IDP, you name it. So head over there today, check out our rankings that are also going to be live there, or are live there currently. And for everybody here, for Dave from Connect Go, for Jonathan, for Keith, for Nate, Jorge, good luck this week, and we'll see you on our podcast bonanza on Wednesday and going forward. Thursday is DFS day here at Fantasy and Frames, where the Daily Fix will be on at 9 p.m. Eastern, and we may even go over an hour, folks, depending on how much information these guys have.
We're such divas. We needed our own night, so you have a couple of good weeks, and we demanded our own time slot and evening.
Quite right.
Exactly. All right, folks, y'all have a good one.
Take care, guys.